Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Back once again. I know it's hard to believe, but when I published the video yesterday, I just decided out of the blue, had the day off, might as well go spend it somewhere because I was kind of sick and tired of staying in. Even though the day was very humid and hot, and I kind of suffered in one store because they had no indoor air conditioning, I still survived, and I'm here to tell the story. Um, yeah, it was brutal yesterday. The heat index was like 108, and all they had were like just these big overhead fans blowing at me, which did not help. It helped a little bit, but just glad I was alone and just could sweat there all day long with these filthy records. But we'll get into that. So I just basically spent the day in Omaha. It was definitely unplanned, unpredictable, but came out with a fairly good stack. A lot of this I'm just kind of experimenting on. Some of these I really haven't dropped the needle too much on. They just looked interesting enough for me to pick up, and two of these though I am happy to finally purchase. They were some that I kind of paid up for, but not nearly for what they go for compared to the online market. So the first place I went to was Homer's, which is a famous independent record shop in Omaha, in the Old Market. They oftentimes have some pretty good stuff, a lot of uncommon things coming through. It's just a nice treasure trove of like a lot of private records and stuff I had never seen before. And some of these I took chances on actually turned out to be pretty sweet. Don't know how long I'm going to keep them, but at least they were cheap enough for me to take chances on. And some of these I can't even find on Discogs. One of these I added on Discogs yesterday, and I will share these. So, no particular order. I think this was the $10 one. Got it in the same sleeve here, but this is KSI Women in Weather. This one I could not find a single thing about online or in the store when I was on my phone. The cover looked interesting enough just to take a chance on. Looks like this came out in 1984, but definitely sounds like just a couple years earlier. Definitely early 80s. Took just kind of a blind chance looking at the back cover and seeing what this whole thing was about. So KSI, it stands for Kansas Seaman's Institute, I believe. On the back there, I think it's Institute or Institution. Basically, I think it's like three or so guys, maybe three or four, were like stationed down in Galveston. And they were based from Lawrence, Kansas, but they must have like some sort of job, with cruise ships or something. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look it up again. They actually have a Bandcamp where you can stream this record, but I'll probably end up releasing 2 or 3 tracks from this because from what I've heard so far, it's actually pretty good for an mid 80s private release. It's definitely self-released. And the production itself kind of has this like real people vibe. Some people don't like that term, but that's kind of the only way I can describe it, is that it's definitely not in the mainstream light, and it's certainly, self-produced, self-made. And you can definitely tell in the production they weren't really trying to, polish this too cleanly. But it's got some interesting mixture of like AOR, from the early 80s, but also kind of this tinges of psychedelia, or these kind of cosmic sounds, with the use of organ and, some nice different effects from the lead guitarist. I'll upload some clips so you guys get a taste of this on my other channel, Cosmic Minds. So yeah, this had no label, just a plain blue label. So if anybody knows anything about this record, let me know. Apparently they had one other release on Discogs, but otherwise seems pretty obscure. Glad I snatched that one up. And then this one, I think I've seen this cover somewhere, and I used to have this band's other album. This is Somerset, East of the Sun. So this is on the American Gramophone label, which was known for Fresh Air, or else Mannheim Steamroller, based out of Omaha. They had another copy of this there that was sealed, but I just took a chance on the cheaper one. They were both pretty cheap, but um, American Gramophone's mostly known for kind of classical and just a lot of stuff locally in Omaha. However, this does have some good cuts. I'd actually say this is better than their debut album. I forget the name of it, but I sold it a while ago. Um, but I'd say this is the better one. It's got some nice, moody, kind of soft rock. Um, Also, has a little bit of psychedelic folk mixed in with some nice use of like these kind of silvery synthesizers over top of it. Um, Really sounds a lot like that cover. Just kind of takes you away. Really nice moments on here. The two big standouts I uploaded already onto my other channel, if you guys want to check them out. This one I've actually only heard side one of. I was just kind of listening very loosely in the background, but took a chance on this one too. This is another local Omaha band, Kikin, Starbound Lady. This was, I think, another late 70s, yeah, 1978, based out of Omaha. This is on blue vinyl. Love that blue. It's like my favorite color of blue. Cover is a little bit worn, but played really nice. It's basically kind of a progressive, kind of mainstream progressive rock, but pretty talented group though. I actually kind of dug some of these sounds. Not sure how long this is going to last either. I did like what they played, but it's not particularly the sound I'm looking for. But since I'm kind of into local music, this might stick around for quite some time. We'll have to see on that one. Can't tell you too much about that since I haven't heard it all, but this one I said to myself, I think I've seen this also on Jacob's channel, Jay Sanders, and this is, what is this? Kikin Bird. It's another lounge LP. I'm not sure where they're based out of. I think maybe Ohio or something. Somewhere out east maybe, not too far. Anyways, I only sampled a little bit of this as well. The track that Jacob uploaded, and basically all cover songs, I think, except for like maybe 2 or 3. Pretty original sound, they're not like typical lounge bands. They actually, kind of do their own renditions, which is nice. I couldn't tell you really any other standout tracks off the bat. I think the original track, Lost Within You, I remember kind of being a good cut, but I'd have to sample this if I'm going to upload it on my second channel. So there's that one. Like I said, private press galore in that place this time around. This is the first one that caught my eye. I had never seen this before. This is Kenny Reed, Rainfall River Flow. This one's very self-produced, as you can tell just by the design. Had somebody paint the image on the sleeve for them, and this one I was hoping would go a little better. I thought maybe this is going to be kind of straightforward singer-songwriter, which it is. It's got a little more, maybe too much of a Bob Dylan-like kind of approach, which is not typically my bag. Very lyric heavy. However, there are a couple good standouts on here. I wouldn't say psychedelic wise, but just songs in general. The Best Year of My Life, which closes side 1. I plan on uploading that onto the other channel, as well as Sparrow's Wing, which to me was the biggest highlight. It's got some nice, it's very soft, kind of in the back of the mix, but it's got some wah-wah effects on it. Some kind of soft electric guitar. Pretty nice voice on most tracks, but sometimes, like I said, it gets kind of honky-tonk a little bit here and there, but little on the rural side, but otherwise pretty decent pickup. Not sure this is going to last too long, but that cover is definitely intriguing. Okay, and then so that was all the finds from Homer's, and then I went over to, like the next block down to the most recent record shop, which was Grapefruit Records. That's mainly the reason I was going, because I hadn't stopped there yet. And I think the last time I was in Omaha, they were kind of just transitioning into, putting that shop into place, which was like part of an antique shop as well. And surprisingly, didn't come out with anything in there. They had a lot of nice reissues that, of course I do want, but man, they're just so expensive. I mean, I was hoping one of these titles that comes to mind is that Naomi with her album Sun. I forget the title now. Seagulls, and you know what I'm talking about. I'll put the image in. Um, so those have been most recently reissued. That album and her debut album. They wanted like $27, which I don't know. Reissues are getting pretty pricey themselves, and I understand the whole vinyl market's got to survive, but just wasn't feeling it that day. And they had probably more new stock of these reissues rather than used vinyl, which I wasn't too much into. I did find some cool titles, but some of them I already had, like Silver Apple's Contact. They had Original Love and some stuff like that. Just nothing really spoke to me in that store, but I'll definitely stop in another time. However, across the street, I hit back to the Vinyl Cup, which I didn't buy anything in there last time, and I always check their discount bins and the new arrivals for sure. Didn't find anything in there except one of these, but I can't remember if I spotted this in there last time, but this was a fairly decent deal. I did pay up for this, but this definitely goes over the 100 mark anymore, but glad to pick up on this finally. This is the Orient Express Mainstream. This band's based, I think they originated out of France, but they're definitely heavily Eastern flavored throughout the whole album. It's very raga inspired, with some definite psychedelic leanings. Very heavy on the sitar. I mean, the whole Eastern flavor is just submerged in this record. Pretty nice copy. Usually when I see these, they're pretty beat, but yeah, I paid $70 for it and played pretty well, and just the condition it's in. I mean, you just never see it this clean anymore, it seems like. So, couldn't pass that deal up. Probably not, I don't think this made the top list of my mainstream records, but this is kind of one that's kind of grown on me actually in recent years. It's kind of a different experience once you buy it and put it on the turntable, so definitely hit better this time around. And then in the discount section, I found this one for $10. I can't believe the original price on it. It's $26, being a white label promo, but this album should never be $26. I've always known it to be a $10 album, and for its shape it's in and for a white label promo, I'm very happy to finally pick this one up as well. The Motions, Electric Baby. I could only recall like one or two tracks from this. The title track, which has like this kind of warbly mellotron intro and it's kind of an eerie vibe to the whole track. This is one I have to get a little more familiar with yet. This band's based from Holland, and I think their second album is probably their best overall. I hadn't heard it in a while, but I don't have that record either, but hopefully sometime down the road I'd like to acquire that one too. I think this was their only US release, if I'm not mistaken, Electric Baby. So yeah, have to kind of report back on this perhaps. Couldn't really tell you. I think it's primarily, kind of pop rock, but certainly some psychedelic touches. So pick that up. And then my final spot, I forget the name of this thrift store because I've never been to it before, but it was just outside the old market. Had thousands of records. I mean, probably literally thousands, more than my collection for sure. Including like all the 45 sections were just kind of laid out, and it was kind of a dusty dig for sure. Definitely got those dusty fingers afterwards, but definitely worth it. This is the place without indoor air conditioning. I was sweating balls in there so bad. But definitely worth it. I just love those kind of digs, but man, picked the wrong day to visit that place, but I survived. And then of course allergies came with that, digging through all that and getting all that dust in. But it was fun. I wish I kind of came out with a bigger outcome and stuff I was more familiar with, but pretty happy with this haul, especially this first one was a real surprise. This is one I also discovered on Jacob's channel, Jay Sanders, and he uploaded a clip from this. This is Traveling Band with their album Dance Rock and Roll. This came out in 1971. I guess you could say private label. The other band, Los Bandidos, which is a private press, a lounge group. I have that album as well, live at somewhere in Minnesota. It's on the same label as this. And I think this band's based out of Minnesota. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense I would find this there. And the records at this place were kind of pricing from anywhere from $1 to like $5 on certain items. So all pretty cheap. I really enjoyed this all the way through. This is my first full listen, and you know, it's all cover songs from the era, mostly the late 60s. They do Fire, Are You Ready by Grand Funk, and Get Ready, of course, Traveling Band, whole lot of Shakin', Susie Q, of course some, you know, big titles from the era, but they certainly do it in their own light. Not too far off from the original, but far enough that it's enjoyable. And they do kick in that fuzz pretty heavily in this record. I would say it's pretty prominent all the way through. It's really surprised me. This is definitely one that gets slept on. It's on the Little Crow label. It definitely has some surface scratches and stuff, but it'll definitely play. It plays really loud. So this was a very nice scoop up. And I've already uploaded one of the better tracks onto YouTube, Trying to Get to You. I can't remember who that's originally by. And like I said, some of this stuff I haven't really looked into too deeply, but they just kind of caught my eye, you know. I think another lounge group, Eddie and Joe Live. I was just looking at the back cover of this, and it just looks kind of wild. Alabama Cop, whoa, you mother. It says on the back. And California Cop, hi there, it's ticket time. I don't know what we're in for here. Maybe some comedy, maybe some lounge. Who knows? But it's signed by Eddie and Joe, so you know it's got to be good. They're passing some autographs out. Vinyl's actually in pretty decent shape for not having a sleeve in it, but this is kind of just one of those weird things I'm just, you know, picking up. Private LPs, and this is one I kind of sampled yesterday, and I hinted toward this on Instagram, just like Elvis. I'd say it sounds more just like Kermit the Frog's cousin who nobody remembers. Pretty bad imitation of Elvis, and the backing group's pretty good, I'd say. The production's pretty stellar, but this is just not a good one. And of course, this is one of those generic covers you see all the time. Most recently, this was used on that Peabody Company reissue. Or not reissue, but archival release. Or acetate, rather. And then this is one I just picked on based on the back cover. This is Unconditional Love by David Yantis. You know, just looking at how they play. Got slide guitar in there. Pretty nice slide guitar sounds. Unfortunately, they only came out with one good track, the very last one, Now and Forever. This is one I'm going to upload on to Cosmic Minds. This one I have not listened to yet, but looks like it fetches for a little bit of money, depending on the condition. This is Geeter Davis, Better Days. Apparently he had another album before this one in the early 70s. You know, just looking at the whole presentation, just how this whole sleeve comes together, it's pretty bare bones. Record's in nice shape. I think it's supposedly supposed to be like soul or funk or something, you know, based out of the early 80s, which that's just leading up to all kinds of trouble there. But you know, I just really don't like the 80s production sound with all those tinny drums and plastic sounding keyboards. It's not for me. And this is one I have not spun yet, but I found out it was a rockabilly single. I can't tell if it's the artist Tom Macuso. It's on the Charisma label. Oh, What a Lovely Day, and Over and Done. They had several 45s there, but of course going into those. There were a lot of the mainstream record labels. There's a few oddball stuff, but they didn't turn out to be anything scarce or anything. So hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely an unexpected trip down to Omaha, but I really enjoyed it. Do have kind of a stretch coming from work now, so up until next Wednesday. So thankful I got some more stuff to check out, dive into a little bit, maybe sell perhaps, and yeah, that's all I got. So I did get my 2 packages in the mail today, which I haven't even opened yet, the online finds, so I'll probably be opening those with whatever else I get down in the future. So thanks for stopping by, and we shall see you soon.